Good to go. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Night Live Show. I am Griffin Murphy, and this is Nolan Patrick from Strike Points, and we are Doc Sports. In this video, we're going to be breaking down some of the hottest sports games on the current slate. We have playoff basketball, playoff hockey. MLB is finally in the midst of fire, and we will be tossing out free picks throughout the entire show, along with some player props and game props. We're going to be going over 4 specific matchups. For tomorrow, we have Cleveland at Boston, NBA. We have the Pacers at New York tonight. And then in MLB, we have the Red Sox in Atlanta, and we have Seattle and Minnesota. We will be running down those 4 games, but remember, this show is for you guys. So if you guys have any comments, any games that you want us to break down in particular, throw them in the comment section. Myself and Nolan will go ahead and get ready to capitalize for you guys and break them down as easy as it can be. Jeffrey, glad to see you, brother. Zach, how we feeling? Let's jump right into this thing, Nolan. So rolling right into game 1, we're going to start in the Western Conference Finals, game 2, between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. This game is for tomorrow, May 9th. The Celtics are laying 13.5 points in this game, and we have a total at 211.5. Right now, Boston leads the series 1-0 after drilling Cleveland in game 1 in a 120-95 final. The Celtics, man, I got to tell you, Nolan, they're just absolutely unstoppable right now. They just cleaned up a series with Miami 4-1. Now they just rolled over Cleveland in game 1. I mean, Tatum, Brown, White, Al Horford, and Holiday really making a statement in that first game of the set. I will say, though, how about Brown really showing out last game? I want to say he dropped over 30 points. This Boston Celtics team is nearly unbeatable at home. And you look at the way the Cleveland Cavaliers are playing, well, it just so happens to seem all they have rolling for them right now is home court advantage. And that kind of seemed to simmer in that series against Orlando. I believe that if that went 1 to 2 more games at home, Orlando takes that series. But it was simple. For Boston in that series, their lone loss was simple, man. They were out-rebounded, and Miami hit 53% from the perimeter. So how do you really stop that? The Celtics this season alone, 37-4 at home. Every single game in that series, they nearly beat Miami by 20 points. And how do you stop that? You really can't. When you have that dynamic duo with Tatum and Brown, there's really no slowing it down. And the rebounds are the biggest thing that I am looking at in this series. Everybody's biggest take on this matchup was Porzingis being out. Well, does everybody forget the fact that Boston went all season long third or second, I want to say, in rebounds? And everybody forgets the X factor. There's 2 of them. We've got White, who is completely popping off for this Boston Celtics team. And then we have the veteran, the big man, Al Horford, from the perimeter, on the boards, a leader. This guy absolutely cleans it up on all elements of the game. I love the way this Boston Celtics team is playing right now. And then when you look at Cleveland, all they really have going for them is Donovan Mitchell. Due to the fact that Jaren Allen is hurt right now, and he's a game-time decision rolling into tomorrow. You guys seen what happened last night. Mitchell dropped 38 points. Jared Allen was out of the game. Darius Garland played out of his mind. He flew around the court just as expected. And Evan Mobley played very good basketball. And simply put, Cleveland, in my eyes, especially playing in Boston, just does not have the depth to sustain with this team. I love the way Boston is playing. They finished up their season going 37-4 at home. How do you stop that? I just don't see it happening, Nolan. Right now, looking at this game, the breakdown, in my matchup and in my pick, I have to go with the under in this matchup. I think this is a trap bet. I think everybody is anticipating that Boston is going to steamroll them, but this is a double-digit spread. I know they covered yesterday, and it was a double-digit spread, but we can't expect this to go over and over again in the sequence of a blowout. So what I'm expecting is Boston, obviously, I believe, is going to take this game outright, but I think the trap bet here, Nolan, is going with that under 2.5 or 211.5 points. And A little side play for you guys. Cleveland needs to get off to a hot start in this matchup. So we're going to get plus value for those of you guys that like that adrenaline, that quick hit, that quick pump. Take the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first quarter, race to 10 points. You will get plus value. They have to stand tall. They cannot be pushed around, and they know that. And they have to make a statement here in game 2 early and often. So my 2 plays going at you guys right now is going with the under 211.5 points and that race to 10 with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Nolan, what are your thoughts rolling into this game, brother?
I'll tell you, Griffin, you nailed it. You nailed it. I don't even need to be here with how much you just nailed everything right there. Yeah, this is just a brutal matchup for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They just don't have enough, especially with Jared Allen out. He's got that rib injury, and anybody that's ever hurt their ribs, they know that that's something that just hangs and hangs and hangs.
Right.
Surprisingly enough, Donovan Mitchell, he scored more points in game 1 than he's averaging. Isaac Okoro scored more points in game 1 than he's averaging. Evan Mobley scored more points in game 1 than he's averaging. Garland didn't shoot the ball well, played really hard, but really the big thing for Cleveland is Max Strus played terrible. He only had 5 points, and they need way more out of him if they want any chance at all in this series. Again, surprisingly enough, Jason Tatum, you talked about him. He only had, I think, 18, 19 points in that game. He didn't score the basketball like he's used to. Yes, Jaylen Brown scored 32, but you said it. X factor, Derek White. Good Lord. This guy's averaged 15, 16 points a game in the regular season. He's averaging 23 points a game in the playoffs right now. His last 3 games, he's scored 38, 25, and 25. And you also touched on it, rebounding the basketball for the Celtics. Everyone forgets the fact, yes, Porzingis got hurt. He brings 8, 9 rebounds to the table. But Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, these are 3 of the best rebounding guard small forwards that you have in the NBA. Tatum had double-digit rebounds, and he's just going to continue to do that against this Cavs team. Cleveland, they just don't have enough. I will say, though, I like what you were talking about with that underplay. I do. I'm going to be on the Cavs in game 2, plus 13.5. Boston has a tendency every once in a while to lay an egg. They did it in game 2 against the Miami Heat. Now, I think Eric Spoelstra, the coach of the Heat, has a lot to do with that. I think he had great matchups, great changes in that game 2. Eventually, the cream rose to the top, and the Celtics just pulled away in that series. It wasn't even close. But I see the Celtics, they know that they're going to run away with this series. Everyone knows that the Celtics are going to run away with this series. I see them laying a little bit of an egg. I see the Cavs playing a little bit better. I think the Cavs get a little bit more from Darius Garland, from Max Strus, and I think that the Cavs make this a little bit of a game. Now a little bit of a game, 8, 9 points. Celtics coast. The one big thing last night is the Cavs let the Celtics score 40 first quarter points. They don't stand a chance if they're going to do something like that. I think Cleveland's going to focus a bit more defensively. I think they're going to take care of the basketball, and I think you're going to see them play a little bit better. So I would be on the Cavs plus 13.5 in that game. Throughout this series, I hate to say it, there's not a ton of value. I'm going to be on the Celtics in both games in Cleveland. I think they roll there. If I was going to make a bet in this series, it would be a series play. I think your value is on the Celtics winning this series in a sweep, 4-0. That's plus 120. And then I think there's a little bit of value on the Celtics winning this series 4-1. That's plus 150. So I think that's where your value is. I don't really think there's a ton of value on the sides, on the totals. We can nail those things. But overall, I think your value, if you want to get plus money, it's on the Celtics sweeping or winning 4-1. Now, if anybody wants a prop, which, we all love props. We all love player props. I'm rolling with Derek White. This guy's not slowing down. Good Lord. Right now his points are over plus 17.5, minus 120 juice. I'll take that. So I'm on Derek White over 17.5 points. And I've talked about this guy twice already. Max Strus for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think he's going to have a better game. I really do. And right now, his 3-point shots made is 1.5. So I'm going to be on Max Strus over 1.5 made 3-point baskets in that game. I like the Celtics to win by 8, 9 points. I really like that undercall that you made. Derek White, Max Strus. And that's what I got for you, Griff.
I love it, Nolan. You know what? I'm going to agree with you totally. I love the play on White, and I'm definitely not fading the Cavs, especially getting double digits in this one. Before we jump over to the Eastern semifinals between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, I do want to give a shout out. Zach, how we doing? Nicholas, how we doing? Daniel, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Ralph, we got you tuned in. Always a pleasure seeing you, my man. And Timmy the Tulip, we are about to get into that Knicks game right now, my friend. Nicholas, how we doing? Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Let's jump right into this next game, Nolan. So, rolling into this one, we've got the Indiana Pacers rolling into New York to play the Knicks. The Knicks are laying 4.5 points in this game. We have a total at 218.5. And this is a really tough game for me, Nolan. I really got to tell you. Going into game one of this series, I had the Pacers winning that game money line. I got greedy with it. I had plus 200 odds, and it was a 5.5 point spread, and I did lose on that hook. I would have lost on the hook, or I would have won on the hook if I would have taken the Pacers. But unfortunately, I got greedy. I ended up taking a loss on that because this Knicks team is playing out of their mind. Jalen Brunson again, man, another 40-point game. How do you stop this guy? And you could go over their lineup. You can go over their roster and say this team doesn't have the depth to sustain and keep rolling. Well, OG, he's playing out of his mind. Josh Hart cleaning up on the boards. He's playing out of his mind. Dante D coming off a 25-point game, playing out of his mind. How do you jump in front of a team like this? Then you shift gears and you go look at this Indiana Pacers team. Well, Haliburton, he's been hurt all playoff series long with them back spasms. Again, he's game time decision. But he hasn't been scoring a lot of points, but if you paid close enough attention to this, he's been swinging the ball around better than anybody on the court. He is leading in assists. He is dominating. You have Miles Turner on the other hand. He has been showing out all postseason long, dropping at least 20 points per game. And then Pascal Siakam. This guy is playing better than anybody in the postseason, anybody on the Indiana Pacers in general. The only guy outplaying him in this set is going to be Jalen Brunson, who's going completely off right now. So something we really have to take into accountability is one. We know Jalen Brunson, he is no joke, and he is not somebody that we want to jump in front of. That is like a freight train moving at 100 miles an hour. I'm not jumping in front of it. On the other side of things, you have an Indiana Pacers team who moves the ball faster than anybody in basketball. They have the number one tempo when it comes to speed and tempo of play. They are also first in points per game on the offensive side. So how do you really look at this game? Well, the Knicks, they have a phenomenal head coach. We know that with Tom Thibodeau. We know Jalen Brunson's going off. We know their entire lineup is playing phenomenal basketball. For me, right now, if I was to say, okay, let me back off of this game and forget the fact that Jalen Brunson is leading postseason in points per game and doing it game in, game out, this would be a different breakdown. But for me right now, I really have to look at a totals play. And right now, my favorite play on this game, and it's a free play. I don't love this, but I like the over in this game. I have to keep in mind how many points Jalen Brunson is scoring. I have to keep in mind how many rebounds Josh Hart is cleaning up in the paint. I have to keep in mind the speed and tempo of this Indiana Pacers team. And we don't know if Haliburton's going to be able to come out and bring a 20, 30-point game, but we do know that the Indiana Pacers are scoring points in and out, game and out consistently. So, Nolan, rolling into this game, I only have one play, and that is a total play, and I am going with the over 218.5 points. Nolan, what are your thoughts rolling into this game? I know you're a New York guy. I know you're from New York. Fill me up, brother. Let me know what you're thinking.
God, I hope everybody on this live feed right now has about an hour and a half to listen to me talk about the Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. The Knicks are just playing outstanding basketball, inspired basketball. It's so much fun to watch. But one of the hardest things as a handicapper is taking that fandom that you have and putting it aside. You talked about the Pacers money line. Actually, I had for a 7-unit winner the Indiana Pacers in game one. So it was tough for me to go against my Knicks, but there was value on the Pacers. There really was. I took the Pacers plus the points, and we hit a nice 7-unit winner. If you watch that game, it felt like the Pacers were in control for a lot of that basketball game.
Dominating.
But if you didn't watch it and just looked at the box score, you would see that the Knicks outscored the Pacers in 3 of the 4 quarters that they played. I would not have thought that, but when you have Jalen Brunson averaging 36.6 points per game in the playoffs, you always have hope. You really do. There is a video, you got to find it on TikTok, on Twitter, and it's all the talking heads at ESPN that are trashing the Knicks when they signed Jalen Brunson. This is not a number 1 guy. This is not a guy that can get the Knicks to the second round of the playoffs, and it's just got Brunson going like this. It's fantastic. You got to check it out. But the Knicks always have a puncher's chance when you have a guy that's scoring the basketball that well. They really do. With that being said, I like the Pacers in this game plus the points. The Indiana Pacers have done a great job against the spread all season long. A trend that I really like is the Pacers were 25, 11, and 2 against the spread coming off a loss. So this is a basketball team that bounces back well. They played the Knicks hard. They didn't get anything out of Halliburton offensively when it comes to points. He was 2 for 6 from the floor. He was 2 for 5 from 3-point range. So he's not even really looking to score the basketball. You hit the nail on the head. He isn't 100%. So it's going to be tough for Indiana to keep pace with the Knicks when the Knicks are playing that well. But I really like the Pacers plus the points. I do. The Knicks were only 24, 29, and 1 coming off a win. So this isn't a team that just rolls after they beat teams. Big thing, Mitchell Robinson. Oh, boy, the guy is hurt again. The guy is always hurt. And now that bench that you just talked about is even shallower. Good Lord. Now the Knicks are going to have to go to Precious, my Precious, coming off the bench. He's going to get more time. The Knicks are going to need more from Deuce McBride, and it's going to be tough. Those starters for the Knicks, they are playing 40-plus minutes a game. That is tough. They only had 1 day off, and now they got to come back to play this Pacers team. It's going to be a little deeper. So, look, I'm not going to say that the Knicks aren't going to win again because they have a great shot of winning this game. Tough to go into the Garden in the playoffs and win. But I'm going to take the Pacers plus the points. I think that's where it's at. I don't have a really good feel on the total, but like you said, you like the over. I can't tell you you're wrong. I really can't. When both teams are scoring the basketball, you got a guy scoring almost 40 a game. I'm not fading that. I'm not taking the under there. So I would pass on the total, but I absolutely see why you like the over. Anybody want props? I got a couple more props for you. A few. I got OG. You talked about him playing really well, but I'm not going to go points. I'm going to take OG over 6.5 rebounds. I think there's a ton of value there, especially with Mitchell Robinson not coming off the bench to grab some more rebounds. So I think OG goes over that 6.5. I like Halliburton to make more than 2.5 threes. I like Halliburton to hit 3. I told you he was 2 for 6 from the floor in game 1, but he was 2 for 5 from 3-point range. I think he gets over that. I think he makes up maybe 4 in this game. So I would take Halliburton there. And now a sneaky prop. I got a little sneaky prop to slide.
You like sneaky ones, Nolan?
Yeah, there's always value on the sneakies. This thing is plus 155. I just talked about him. Deuce McBride. McBride over 1.5 threes. The guy's going to hit 2. I wouldn't be surprised if he hits 2 the first time he steps on the floor. So that's plus 155. McBride over 1.5 threes. Deuce McBride, take that. Take Halliburton over 2.5 threes. Take OG over 6.5 rebounds. And I'm leaning the Pacers. There you go, Griff.
All right, you guys, you hear it. Nolan's free play. He's rolling with the Pacers, and you guys got the props. Before we shift into the MLB side of things, I do want to give a quick shout out. I see Victor's in the house. Victor, how we doing, brother? Good to see you as always, my man. We've got Zach rolling. Good to see you. Donald, Tony, thanks for tuning in, my man. Timmy the Tulip, I love the name, brother. Catch you slipping. How's everybody feeling today? Anybody, if you guys have any particular games in mind that you want us to break down, please throw them in the comments and we'll do our best to rip them apart for you guys. Spencer, once again, tuned in. Love seeing you, man. Let's roll right into this MLB slate right here. And we have this game starting up at 7:20 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We have the Boston Red Sox rolling into Atlanta to play the Braves. Boston coming into this game 19-17 on the season, 5-5 in their last 10 games, but they've had a really tough schedule as of late. They dealt with Minnesota, who's been on an absolute tear, winning streaks, doing it all, and now dealing with Atlanta. Boston, their lack of efficiency right now is scoring runs. And tonight, this game is set up on an underplay with Pivetta on the bump, especially with Sale on the bump for Atlanta. But here's the take. We know Chris Sale's dominance on the mound, but he does walk hitters. There's really good value here when you look at this play with Pivetta on the bump for Boston. He's 1-1 on the season with 11 innings pitched, but he's got a 0.82 ERA, and he only has 1 walk this season. Boston, they have speed in their lineup. They ranked 9th in Nolan bases, they're 10th in on-base percentage, and they're 7th in slugging percentage. Boston likes to take advantage of early runs. They like to swipe bags early in the game. So we've got a sneaky play here, and I'm going to drop it for you guys right now. My play, my one and only play in this game right now is going to be a very nice plus value play. We're going to go with the Boston Red Sox first 5 innings at a plus 165. I absolutely believe the Red Sox can score 1 to 2 runs with the speed they have in that lineup. You've got Devers in the lineup with home run power, enough power across the entire lineup to hit one out of the park, as well as you have enough guys that are dominant on the speed, on the bases, and to just get a couple of knocks. So giving me that plus 165 line on a first 5 play, give me the Red Sox plus 165 first 5 innings. That is my play rolling into this one, Nolan. What are your thoughts with this one, brother?
The Braves need to make a statement. They really do. They looked awful on that West Coast road trip. Now they're back at home playing the Red Sox. They won last night. They needed that win. Like you said, Chris Sale on the mound. I think he's going to have a good game for the Braves. I think you're going to see 1 or 2 of the Braves' big 3 in Acuna, Olsen, and Riley. I think you're going to see 1 or 2 of those guys have a good game here. Their bats have been dead all season long, but the Braves are back home. The Braves have won 8 of their last 10 home games. They're 12-4 on the year at home, and they need this. After this game, they go on the road for a 3-game trip to see the Mets. So they want to have some momentum. They don't want to win 1, lose 1 after that really bad road trip. So I would take the Braves. The only bad part is if you take the Braves money line, you're laying 200 juice. So I would take the Braves minus the 1.5, minus the run line. I think that's where you would see some value. It's just tough. Whenever you take a team like the Braves, you have to lay so much juice. So I would lay the run line. That's the play I would make on this side. But I like props a little bit more if I'm going to be on this game. I like Sale. I really do. He's pitched pretty well for the Braves. People didn't think he would, but he's going back against Boston. He's going to have a little mojo here. So I would take Chris Sale over 7.5 strikeouts. It's minus 110 right now. Sale has struck out at least 6 batters in every start this season. And now he's going against a Red Sox team that is number 2 in Major League Baseball in most strikeouts. So now he's going to go against a team that strikes out, and he's had at least 6 in every single game. And going against Boston, he's going to have a little bit more in the tank. So I'm going to take Chris Sale over to 7.5 strikeouts. Like I said, I think the Braves play well at home here. So I'm going to take the Braves total run, team total over 4.5 runs. That's minus 120. And then finally, again, Griff, a little sneaky prop play. I love those. Slide it in there. Orlando Arcia. All right, over 1.5 total bases. In his career, he's 4 for 5 with a home run against Pivetta. So take Arcia over 1.5 total bases. There you go, Griff.
Nolan with some very unique prop plays. I absolutely love them. If you guys want to talk about sneaky slippery, well, Nolan's hitting them right on the head, guys. And I'm reading everybody's comments right now. I appreciate all of them. We have one more game we are going to break down. And then if anybody has any particular games before we jump off the show that they'd like us to break down, please throw them in the comment section. We'll rip them apart for you guys really quick. And then we will see you guys next week. But let's roll into our last and final game, and that is going to be Seattle rolling into Minnesota. This game goes off tonight. The current line is minus 110 across both sides. Total 7.5. First pitch at 7:40 p.m. Eastern time. Let's roll right into it. We've got Seattle. Their biggest issue all season long has been their run production. They're averaging 3.8 runs per game as a team this season, although as of late, they have managed to score 24 runs in their last 5 games. Seattle comes into this game 20-16 on the season, 6-4 in their last 10 games, and coming off a nice victory last night, 10-6 with Cal Raylu, grand slam in the 7th inning to really put them over. And I had Seattle yesterday, so I was jacked up. I had teeth whitener in while it was going on, and I'm watching the TV just rumbling, bro. I couldn't scream, couldn't take the thing out, but I was jacked up, got that win. So going even deeper, wanted to throw that out there for you guys. Just a good memory. You know, I love capping. I love betting on sports. Nothing makes me happier than when I can't scream, but the emotion can be there. And I had it yesterday. Going deeper right now, though, guys, 6-4 in their last 10 games are the Mariners, so they're playing very good baseball right now. Minnesota, on the other hand, they've been on an absolute tear. You can't take anything from them. They're 20-15 on the season, 8-2 in their last 10 games, coming off a loss. Tonight, for Seattle, Kirby's going to get the start. He's 3-2 on the year. He's got 38 innings pitched with a dynamic 3.76 ERA. His walk to strikeout diversification is where it gets ridiculous. This guy's got 41 Ks on the season and just 4 walks. Minnesota, they thrive on on-base percentage, slugging percentage. Well, Kirby, he doesn't walk anybody, so that is going to force Minnesota to swing the bat. Minnesota right now is 16th in the MLB when it comes to hits. They're 16th in the MLB when it comes to batting average, followed by 17th in the MLB when it comes to home runs. So they are put in a situation tonight where they must barrel the ball off of Kirby, who's having an outstanding season. This game, in my eyes, favors Seattle. They're playing good baseball. They have a good meeting at 6-4. They're coming off a victory. They play good baseball on the road with a record of 9-8, and you're getting a fair value at -110. So I am on Seattle once again tonight and at a -110 line. And then my sneaker play at you guys is Nerfy. That means no runs first inning. Yerfy. That means yes runs first inning. First inning over 0.5 runs or first inning under 0.5 runs. My play to you guys is going with the Nerfy. I do not see Nerfy no runs first inning at a -135 line. We have a very good pitching matchup tonight, and I don't see any of these two teams swiping across home plate in the first inning of this one, Nolan. So those are my two plays rolling at this matchup. What are your thoughts on this game, bro?
All right, man. Loser buys the other one a beer. I would absolutely. I think I'm leaning Minnesota here. I do. Okay. And I think the reason that I'm leaning Minnesota, as you said, both of these teams are playing outstanding baseball. The Twins have won 8 of their last 10. They've won 13 of their last 15. And now you're getting them off a loss. It really comes down to the guys on the mound. Kirby has pitched so well this year, but I love the fact that Chris Paddock is 2-0 at home with a 1.02 ERA, and he struck out 21 batters over 17 total innings. I really like Paddock at home. I think it's a great spot for him, and I think that's going to be the difference maker. I don't want to go on and on because I like what you said. I really do. Both of these teams are playing great. It's shocking to say that the Seattle Mariners are in first place in the AL West. Not the Texas Rangers, not the Houston Astros, but the Seattle Mariners are in first place. But I would lean Minnesota. Not a huge play. I don't love them, but that's the side that I would go on because of Chris Paddock outdueling Kirby. Props. You want some props? I've got a couple for you. I would take this, even though you said Seattle scored well last night, and they have recently. I'm on Seattle Mariners under total runs 3.5 at +100 juice. I found that I liked that number right there because I think Paddock is going to pitch well. And then I keep talking about him. I'm on Chris Paddock, more Ks than George Kirby at +100. Kirby's Ks on the road are 3-7-3 over his last 3 road starts, while Paddock at home is 6-10-5. So give me more strikeouts by Paddock over Kirby, +100 juice, Griff.
I love it, man. I love it. And now going through all of these comments, guys, we are going to do our best to go through as many of these as we can. Unfortunately, NHL will not be in the cards tonight, as both myself and Nolan do have positions. At least I have a heavy position on the Oilers game, so I don't want to get too deep into that one. Nolan, I don't know if you have any positions regarding that game, total, side, anything like that. If not, we can shy away from that one. What are your thoughts rolling with that game right now?
I'm not really feeling that series right now. Okay. I really aren't. Nope.
And when it comes to a team trailing, I saw somebody wanted to talk about that Houston game. Well, I'm looking at it right now. Houston is yet to start, so I am missing that one. There was one more game that I did want to touch up on. Victor, I do apologize. I can't give out the Oilers-Canucks game. I have a huge premium play on this one, a very strong position, and I've wagered the hell out of it. I will post my ticket on my Twitter, though, so you can go and see what I have in action right now. But going through the rest of all of these comments, trying to find one more game for you guys that we can rip apart. I saw something regarding the D-backs and Reds right now. That will be the last game that we will break down. It's going to be short and sweet. Let me pull up the slate for you guys right now. So going into this, I do have a very small premium play on this. And Nolan, you could touch up on this one if you want to a little bit, but I'll give the full breakdown on this one, and then we'll let everybody be on their way. So looking at this game right off the top of my head, I did a full in-depth breakdown on the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Cincinnati Reds. And the biggest thing for me right now, guys, is Graham Ashcraft. I get the fact that he is 3-1 on the season, and he is pitching very good right now. But he is a liability in my sense. He finds himself in trouble. His control comes off at times. He puts himself in bad situations to allow himself to give up a lot of runs. Has he done it tremendously this season? Not necessarily. But for the Reds right now, they're backed up by Graham Ashcraft, who in my eyes is a liability. And then you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks, they are currently 5th in baseball when it comes to offensive runs per game, averaging 5 runs a game. Their bullpen has not been great. I get that. But they're kind of one of those teams that has the momentum. And I love the fact that we have Montgomery on the bump. He hasn't been pitching great. He's due for a very good outing right now. So I'm just going to have to simply lean with the fact that, hey, you're going to give me minus 120 with the Arizona Diamondbacks on this game with a liability with Ashcraft and then a strong swinging Arizona Diamondback offense. I'm taking the D-backs here, brother. That's going to be my play for Splash Sports. And that is at Nick Mankin. So those are my 3 plays, or that's my free play at least on the D-backs game. Other than that, guys, Nolan, I don't know if you have anything you want to touch up on. I know somebody threw the Astros and Yanks. We are going over our time. We do try to keep these lives under 30 minutes. So if Nolan, you want to jump on that one, go ahead and feel free to do so. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week. Nolan, let me know your thoughts.
If you want to hear specifically on the Astros and Yankees, I'll make it quick. I like Houston. I like Houston plus 125 over the Yankees. Arrighetti will be fired up. Rookie wants to make a big spot start against the New York Yankees. I mean, who doesn't want to beat the Yankees? Rodon, not a big fan of him. I don't like his control. I don't like what he brings to the table here. I would take Houston. And then in that game you just talked about, Diamondbacks and Reds, I would take under 9 there. The Reds haven't scored more than 2 runs in 5 straight games. Arizona went nuts their last 2, but prior to that, they only scored 2 total runs in 3 games. So I'd take under in that, and I'd take the Astros plus 125.
Well, there you guys have it. And everybody, we really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Daniel, Catch You Slipping, Timmy the Tulip, Victor, always a pleasure seeing you. I see a couple new heads in here. Thank you guys all for joining. We appreciate everybody tuning in and watching in. This is the Doc Sports Wednesday Night Live Show. I'm Griffin Murphy. This is Nolan Patrick with Strike Points, and we are Doc Sports. We will see you guys next week.